What's up everyone, John B, aka Smooth Chocolate here. A bit of a surprise tonight. I decided to start reading Calling All Creeps tonight. Hope you enjoy, guys. Chapter 1. At a little after 8 o'clock at night, I tiptoed from my bedroom and crept as silently as I could down the stairs. 3 steps from the bottom, I tripped over a sack of laundry and fell head first the rest of the way. I landed hard on my elbows and knees, but I didn't make a sound. I'm used to falling. I do it all the time. I jumped quickly to my feet and peeked into the front hallway. Had Mom and Dad heard me? They had the TV on in the den. They were watching the Weather Channel. They can watch the Weather Channel for hours. What's there to think about the weather? I could hear the woman on TV talking about the wind chill in Nova Scotia. I pulled on my blue down parka and made my way silently to the front door. A few seconds later, I was outside, jogging along the sidewalk. I kept in the shadows, ducked my head low, and headed for the school. Don't get the wrong idea about me. I don't usually sneak out of the house at night. I'm not a problem child or anything. In fact, my parents are always telling me to be braver, to be more adventurous. I never go without telling my parents where I'm going. But tonight was a special night. Tonight, I had a special mission. The mission was spelled R-E-V-E-N-G-E. I stood as I reached the corner and had to grab a lamppost to keep myself from falling. Most of the snow from the weekend had melted, but there were still some patches of ice on the sidewalk. I hadn't bothered to zip up my parka. The wind blew up behind me as I jogged across the street and past the small houses on the next block. The air felt cold against my warm cheeks and wet as if it might snow again. Hey, enough about the weather. Ricky Beamer, that's me, had more important things on his mind tonight. Tonight I plan to do a little spying and then a little nasty mischief. A few minutes later, I made my way across the preserved playground next to the school, Harding Middle School. That's what the sign beside the buried flagpole read, except that someone had spray painted over all the first letters, so the sign actually read, Harding, It'll, Cool. We have a lot of school pride here at Harding. Actually, most of the kids like the school. It's really new and everything's modern and clean. I like our school too, if the kids would give me a break. If they all get out of my face and stop calling me Ricky Rat and Sicky Ricky, I'd be a real happy guy. Maybe you think I sound a little bitter. Maybe you're right. But all the kids think I'm a nerd. They make fun of me every chance they get. I stared at the school building. It's kind of low and flat and curves around like a snake. The elementary school is at one end and the middle school is at the other. I'm in 6th grade, so my classroom is right in the middle. A spotlight shone down on the bare flagpole in front of the building. Behind it, most of the classrooms were dark. I saw lighted windows at the 8th grade end, and that's where I headed. A car rumbled past slowly. Its headlights washed over the front of the building. I ducked behind a tall evergreen bush. I didn't want to be seen. In my rush to hide, I stumbled into the bush. A clump of cold, wet snow plopped onto my head. With a shiver, I shook my wavy black hair to toss it off. When the car had passed, I crept up to the lighted classroom window. My sneakers made squishing sounds on the soft ground. I glanced down. I had stepped into a deep, muddy rut. Ignoring the mud, I leaned against the low window ledge and pressed my face to the glass. Were the lights on because the night janitor was cleaning in there? Or was Tasha McLean hard at work? Tasha McLean. Just saying her name made my teeth itch. The window pane was steamed up. I squinted through the glass. Yes. Tasha sat at the desk against the wall. She leaned over her computer, typing away. Her long, curly red hair fell over the keyboard as she typed with 2 fingers. Miss Richards, the newspaper advisor, stood beside her, one hand on the back of Tasha's chair. Miss Richards is young and very pretty. She had blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. In her baggy gray sweatshirt and faded jeans, she looked more like a student than a teacher. Miss Richards was nice to me last September when I signed up for school newspaper staff, but she's been pretty mean lately. I think Tasha turned her against me. Tasha is an 8th grader, so she thinks she's hot stuff. 6th graders are nothing at Harding. Believe me, we're nothing, maybe even less. I knew Tasha and Miss Richards would be working late on the Harding Herald tonight because tomorrow is Tuesday, the day the paper comes out. Miss Richards leaned over Tasha and pointed to something on the screen. I squinted hard to see the screen. I could see a headline with a photo beneath it. Tasha was laying out the Herald front page. Once she had the front page finished, Miss Richards would print out 200 copies. Miss Richards turned suddenly into the window. I dropped to the ground. Had she seen me? I waited a few seconds, then pulled myself up. Tasha was typing away. She stopped every few seconds to click the mouse and move things around the screen. Miss Richards walked out of the room. I shivered. The wind swirled, fluttering my parka hood. I hadn't brushed all the snow from my hair. Cold water dripped down the back of my neck. I heard a dog howling sadly in the distance. "Please get up," I silently urged Tasha. "Please leave the room, too, so I can play my little joke." On the street behind me, another car rumbled past. I pressed myself against a dark wall, trying to make myself invisible. When I moved back into the window, the classroom stood empty. Tasha had also left the room. "Yes!" I cheered softly. My heart pounded with excitement. I raised both hands to the windowsill. I struggled to push up to the window so I could go inside. I knew I had to be quick. Tasha probably had gone down the hall to a juice machine. I had only a few seconds to get in the room, do my damage, and get out of there. I pushed and strained. The window didn't budge. At first I thought it might be frozen shut, but finally, on the fourth try, it started to slide up. I pushed with all my strength and opened the window just enough to squeeze through. My wet sneakers slid on the linoleum floor. I was leaving a trail of muddy footprints, but I didn't care. I crept across the room and hunched down in front of the computer. My hand shook as I grabbed the mouse and moved to the bottom of the newspaper page. I heard voices. Tasha and Miss Richards talking down the hall. Taking a deep breath, I frantically studied the page. Then I typed a few words in tiny, tiny type at the bottom of the front page. Giggling softly to myself, I wrote, "Calling all creeps, calling all creeps. If you're a real creep, call Tasha at 555-6709 after midnight." Why did I add this little message to the front of the page of the school newspaper? Why did I sneak in at night and risk getting caught? Why did I desperately need to get revenge against Tasha? Well, it's sort of a long story. Chapter 2, next time, peeps.